Join lawyer Shilon and engineer Mengat every Sunday at 8 p.m. Sierra Leone time. Streaming live on all VOS social media platforms. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay connected with VOS.
We let me salo, salo, salo. We let me salo. We let me salo. Like that day. We salo. Mama salo, we like you.
Hello. Good evening to our people them from we in England. We say good evening also for we people that we in Salon. We say good afternoon for people that we in North America, that is the East Coast and Canada. Today we get very important issue for discuss, and as in I know, we dey talk about trending news na social media. Last week, there's a lot of things that we didn't talk about this ECOWAS conference, and I think so we don't deal with them. But this one we want to talk about now, something we go actually make a lot of impact in how we they choose we leaders them, whose kind of election will they get, and the rights of political parties them, and also thing for do with this much talked about constitutional amendment. Now, let us start by how this come about. We start first for say this constitutional amendment bill, where then they call Constitutional Amendment Act 2025. We get them as a result of the term that we don't try for you to review constitution them. The constitutional review we don't start since we get a constitution in 1991. And that time we've been get a constitution day, we've been go through referendum. We don't get several attempts for review that constitution day. And we're not able to come to one word. But this one we can now is very important, because this constitutional review, we do them for one particular reason, one important reason. We be no say when we been get the 2023 election, small draw in there. We get some people them we been observe the election them, like we local champion what we call new National Election Watch. We been get the Carter Center. We been get the ECOWAS representatives them. We get the Africa Union representative. We been get the EU representative. And in particular, the three, the EU representative, the Carter Center, and new, them in question the result of the election. When I be make initially, when we start the APC party, they not agree with the result. Let me actually try for say they not go take part. So now that time the people that we can call the moral guarantors them, where in this case, the Africa Union, the ECOWAS, the Commonwealth, European Union, then can say, okay, then go fund a program for set up a committee after we get an agreement of national unity. And that agreement of national unity there, it asks for let them set up a committee where now we call the tripartite committee. With that tripartite committee there, it make recommendation them, because they sit down for one whole year, they make recommendation for things them for do with election. We been get 80 recommendation where both the APC and the SLPP agree. Then 4 way, they say, well, the one and they may get divergent views. What do they mean by divergent view? In English. But in Creole, nothing where the two people they not get agreement as to them particular recommendation, but the 80 recommendation them, now they actually call for constitutional review, and they also call for other legislative reviews them, because the one that they relate to the constitution. Waiting at the legislative review then they, because how we laws and they will they talk about hierarchy of laws. We get the constitution when at the primary law, and all other law and they secondary to that law. So this bill where they go parliament is mostly focused on things them for do with elections. How we they pick we leaders then. And the key thing that we will ask, we will look here, now for say one, if the people entrust this process, what in the constitutional review mean? Two, will they look at things for do with the people that were the whole election? Waiting that empowers them, waiting at the limitations them, and who that they monitor them. Then we talk about how for choose we leader them. Because when they talk about election, we they talk about 4 different elections. On the one hand, we get the election them for members of parliament. When at the one end they represent the people them. We get election for president. When I go show who then are the big alejo, who then are the man we get executive powers. We go decide the fate of the country. Then we get the local elections then. Then are for the city councils, district councils, who that they actually take care of things them at local level. Then of course we get the paramount chief elections then. All the elections and they then 4 elections and they we get different way where they do them. So for now begin this, we want for let in and no say last Thursday, the Speaker of the House of Parliament actually make an announcement. Say this Tuesday where they come, they want to look into the constitutional amendment. Already they call it Constitutional Amendment Act 2025, but it's a bill. It's not going to become an act until it don't go through the passage. So now that one show fumble them how waiting Parliament for do for amend them. Waiting at this other paper. Other paper, now the notice where Parliament they give out, where they go to MPs them, and other person the way they show say on this particular day, we they do certain things them. So the speaker don't say, like call all members of parliament, political parties them, because now not 2 get. Let them make sure say then a parliament for let we can look at this constitutional amendment. It already starts. And this program we will go through waiting and undo, waiting left for do, and one make sure say parliament do the right thing. Because constitution, nothing way, if you remember, we don't get them from 1991. If you check 1991 to now over 30 years, we don't get them because from 91 to 2001 a 10 year, 2001 to 2011 a 20 year, 2011 to 2021 a 30 year. So they talk about over 35 years. So the other paper, what he say? He say the MPs and for Kana Parliament, for let them can look into this constitutional amendment. And what thing go happen that day? First, it starts with the Attorney General, a Minister of Justice. When I know the minister where they pilot this constitutional review, we can give statement about how they non-try for reach out to different citizens them. Then we will go through the process. So for let we in a know waiting this all about, we will ask the control room for let play the first video. With that video there they deal with whether Parliament get enough time for scrutinize this bill. And then we'll take in through the stages then we'll get for do, waiting for expect. By the way, me principal host, when I'm Mr. Shilon, when a lawyer, go to join with soon, and the way we go do this nothing way we engage together. In at the man we go look at waiting the law say, and I go interpret the law. And me, based on your experience, I will focus my attention on parliamentary rules and procedures, waiting the Constitution say about amendments, and also the standing orders them. Waiting a standing order. Standing order, now the documentary Parliament show will determine how parliamentary business they take place. How then they do debates, how then they amend bill, who's kind committee Parliament and get waiting at the powers of the committee. So for set the ball rolling, let us ask the control room, let me play the first video for we, because they directly link with waiting then at the other paper.
You feel say Parliament gets enough or adequate time right now and space for scrutinize the proposal we tabled in our Parliament?
Oh yeah, so one of the things we parliamentarians and get for look at them and know say this is not a product of processes where both parties don't participate in. And so it really reflective of the views of the APC, the government, and the people of this country. So we also don't ask people for send position papers where they don't do, as a way for enrich the process and make sure say we get a better law than the bill we don't put. And if you look at it really based on discussions we don't get with members of Parliament, with members of the public, the issues where you go say get small controversy when I just misunderstanding, they're not plenty. You can narrow them down to 4. The others you can tweak them here and there. If you fix them one and day, I feel say Parliament can able debate. I'm telling the Parliament don't handle certain things at breakneck speed. Parliament can able debate and take the necessary vote. And that is why we'll be really excited for do the privilege. We will be get a chance for go through the bill line by line with members of Parliament, give them a chance for ask questions, and that not going to be the last engagement. We'll get several more engagements with them so that way when they get together very well, the process will be really smooth and fast.
So civil society and advocacy group then are strong part of the checks and balance the society. But we get civil society organizations where they cry about feeling sidelined or move out of the process. How inclusive this has been?
So I think the one thing we can pride ourselves, but now that we get a vibrant civil society in this country, we get a very broad civil society space. We get lots of civil society groups in. So whilst we don't get a lot of engagement with civil society groups, we also admit, say yes, some of them we go don't be left out of the process. So yes, on that note, we need to do better. We need, for example, when I meet with Labour Congress yesterday, they expressed concern, say, in all of the engagements we get with civil society last year, they were not there. So that is something we'll correct. We sit down, office now, so we go through a lot of the provisions or proposals a way of concern to we, and then we get for continue the engagement, we get for get broader discussions, and we say we'll bring more people under the umbrella for this engagement here. So we'll continue for broad in this space. But yes, we don't engage with a lot of civil society. Now, it is not for broad in the space. But here's the thing. Government take and civil society are partners in governance. So sometimes when we engage with civil society on these issues, not only the direct engagement between we and them, then they feed this process into the activities in the communities, among the constituencies, and then, engage. That is all been very pleased. We sent Sierra Leone recently. We convened a meeting of women's groups across the country in Amakini. We said we go and go talk about the constitution, then really focus on what the constitution will mean for women there in this country. So yes, we engage send, but then we use the convening power for bring other actors in that broad in the space. So yes, another partnership we want to get with civil society. So we all go take this process here. So
well, fambul them in a the man way now they lead the legal process for this constitutional review. Where in a way to act is the Attorney General, when are the advisor to the President and the Executive, and is also the Minister of Justice, where means say it work hand in hand with the judiciary. And under the governance system, the head of the judiciary, now the Chief Justice, where now in they run everything for do with law business. So now, the other paper, what you know I bring this thing, the other paper say, number one, what in the happen that day, then go start by the Minister, Attorney General, Minister of Justice. We go do a summary of all the consultation where they don't do. Because it say the ministerial statement of the nationwide consultation meeting when they go start. Because any bill where they go parliament, this is a government bill because the government they push them. The minister where they in charge, now they go introduce the bill in a parliament. This minister will tell you what he be done do before. Then they say, they go through the process. But what we want to discuss, now this we program, now for say, this thing here, not for Russia. And when the family understand the constitution of itself, we will make reference to them and for sure one, how parliament they make law and how parliament they amend law. Because when they talk about law, they talk about the constitution, when are the primary law, when then they now govern all other law way for reach to them. In this case now, the laws then we will talk, especially when they talk about where it relates to election, we get the Public Elections Act, where now they show the different rules of elections, waiting the Electoral Commission for do. We also get the PPRC Act, when are the Political Parties Regulatory Commission Act, because the Constitution make provision for that body there where now they regulate how political party then they behave. Now for make sure say whatever then they do, is not they against the Constitution, even their own Constitution. Not for they against anything within the national Constitution. So the PPRC, now they like the watchman for the political party. Then also you get act we deal with the ECSL. What's in the ECSL? The Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. And this constitutional amendment also, it get clause we say for let them baptize or christen this ECSL now. Let them call them another name. So all them things in that you then get for discuss. Then you get also laws them we deal with how the security forces then they behave. Especially like the police. Because the last time we get a law we deal with the police, then conduct, how for they operate. In 1965, when at the Police Act. So already a previous program, we did not get a bill for look at the police because the police, the military and other protection forces, now we don't get the special protection services. Therefore be neutral. They're not for involved in things the way they go show favoritism to one party against the other. Especially, we know say the party where they in power, that they get the majority members in government. Now then they direct the operation of then security force here through the executive. Because you know under our constitution, and the president, when at the big alejo, now they appoint the Minister of Justice. Now also they appoint the head of police, the Inspector General. Now they appoint the Chief of Defense Staff. And normally they can say what adage, how the forces here they operate, they can say them for obey and complain later. But then they know for day again, because if you obey, you know for do anything where they against the Constitution, and we're not going to bring fairness. So these are some of the issues. So let's start with how Parliament they make law and amend law. We start first with Section 106 of the Constitution. By the way, fumble them, when my colleague join, he go announce the number the way I still call we. Because this one, we want let in involve. Because Tuesday, when we parliamentarians and they go debate the bill, the decision where they go take, it will affect we all. Who don't want to be politician, who don't want to be politician, who don't want to choose the leader, whose kind of leader I want, and how it will be represented. So now I make it very important. Let go listeners then for participate. So Section 106 of the Constitution now give power to Parliament. What in they say? Subsection 1 say the power of Parliament to make laws shall be exercised by bills passed by Parliament and signed by the President. So now that one can look here. So when they say bills passed by Parliament, bills not different one. Like this one will get to what we want to talk today. Now a constitutional amendment bill. Then you can get a bill where not a constitutional amendment, but that bill they can either be related to an issue of interest or one of the government's functions. Which I means an issue of interest. If we remember say we can get the bill, we'll call the GIWI bill. We don't come an act. That's gender empowerment, women's empowerment bill. We then bring that 30% quota. So then they been get for go through Parliament. We also get the Cyber Security Act. And one thing make this thing very important. Then two acts then they. Also the Child Protection Act. Then be take a long time, back and forth, a lot of consultation. A lot of people then they be involved. So when I see this other paper, where the speaker say, on Tuesday, then go and go through the second reading, the committee stage, and the third reading, now makes so ask the question, is that enough time? Because we're going to show fumble and the different stages in making laws. So if we go back to Section 106, he also say a bill shall not become a law unless it has been duly passed and signed in accordance with this Constitution. So in other words, what will they discuss now? Now like intent. You know, be law it. The law, existing constitutional law, they still stand. So now that's Parliament get for do. Then we can also get private members bill as well. Or another way where Parliament can make law, not use statutory instruments them. What's in a statutory instrument? This na proposal we go relate to a law, a secondary legislation. Like for instance now, if we take her in the context of election, if we say a PR system we want to do, we then go discuss them. The PR system go for determine one, how would they determine the district block system? Waiting at the threshold, right? What I mean threshold, almost percentage vote, an individual or a party forget seats in a parliament. Then they forget then they through when a parliament get for look it will get for go through a statutory instrument. When I look come back to this particular constitutional amendment, Section 106, it deals with all type of laws, as I've been saying. It deals with constitutional law. It deals with law for deal with subject matter of interest, where I've been talking like cybercrime, like things for do with gender empowerment bill, bills that were specific to particular functions of government, like the Police Act. But then, when it comes to this one where they talk, the constitutional amendment, Parliament therefore follow Section 108, not to 106, which is different. Okay. Section 108 of the Constitution, 9 talk about how you they change Constitution. When are that one do now? Because this constitutional amendment bill, it change certain things that within our constitution already. So now, what in Section 108 say? It says a bill for an act of parliament under this section shall not be passed unless it is gazetted. Right? What do they mean by gazetted? It said 2A, it said before the first reading, I will explain, tell Fambul the what they mean by all the one day. The Gazette, now a government publication document where government they print. Now they talk about laws. Now they talk about things that for do with public appointments. Sometime in there where the Gazette 19 get vacancy notice for government job. And also Gazette, like when they can appoint you, they're on probation, when they confine your appointment, now the Gazette then they put them. So now something where a document when at the number one government publication, when at the government printer as a printer. Now, what he say for this constitutional amendment, then get for Gazette and twice, and the Attorney General been say in Gazette around December last year. So a Gazette and first, they put the bill saying that this one do, now then change this one make. Then 9 days after, he do a second Gazette when a notice we put. So then they will say the government or parliament don't follow that procedure. So now hold on here and welcome my colleague, Mr. Shillon, when I will legal mind to this very important discussion we want to do. Mr. Shillon, welcome. And
thank you, sir.
Do an introduction, and also want you for tell people them how they go contact with through telephone. Over to you, sir.
Oh, okay. The opening. Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, my co-host, Mr. Mengot, for filling in for me. So I'm sure he does tell you now some of the things that we'll get for talk about, or what would we talk about today now that July 30. So Sunday. So there are so many things where the government they can't wait. We're not going to be able to cover everything, but we will try our best for cover as much as we can. So as soon as I know Mr. Mengot the lead man when it comes to government and structure and the various steps they will take for put things together. So all we do now for just ask questions and question some procedures whether parliament they follow all the steps then within the talk about, particularly the constitutional amendment, the areas they would want to cover, whether they go about it because we get a constitution for a reason. The constitution not necessarily Parliament can do as them please, skip some of the steps the way then your rules say, and some of the steps the way the constitution say, therefore take. As I can always remind people, Parliament is not above the law. Because if we begin to look at the law that way, and that will lead to confusion. When America, we call it chaos. So it will be good when we all, and what is a constitution? A constitution is just a piece of paper. Now the commitment to that piece of paper there, now he make a constitution workable, necessary, because God make we mortal man them, not for be free, for do everything how we want them. Now he make we get rules in society. Now he making a salon now, you can't drive one side of the road where the law say you for drive on another side of the road. You know, you can't just drive, you stop your car in the middle of the street, then say park your car. So if we just follow that simple principle there, we don't forget much problem at all because everything what we did say. But the problem what we did see in our country, and not criticizing any government, but now a lot of African countries, but we own country, and that primarily we're concerned with, we own country, would pass law for protect a group of people who get the power, not for the people. And the country are the people, or the people are the country. So we want pass law way for just law way convenient for minister, members of parliament, you know, something like the speaker of the house. No law now any country go work that way. They call law, you know, the person for one person, or one pass laws because one get at somebody. So that for beginners, this is what I have to say. Now, I don't know if Mr. Mengot begin the earlier phone number and go for reach, but if the control room can post their number and there for me, I can repeat them. You know, we'll get a WhatsApp line when I will main number down there if you want for reach way. So all you do now for call 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. And our WhatsApp line, our universal line down there, and you can reach me from anywhere unless the government in the country where you want to call from block WhatsApp. Otherwise, you should be able to reach me. But when you reach me on that line there, sometimes we get a lot of people and we can call. And we put people in, we limit everybody we call to a 3-minute old. I mean, to a 3-minute discussion. So when people are there on the line, we strongly encourage you, when we take your call, limit your question to 3 hours or your comment, whatever you call for. And also, of course, we can listen to, we don't say this is an active, interactive show, meaning live. So as I talk to us, so whoever they listen, get the ability for calling at that number here, or this number I just called, for call right back. So there's not a recorded show this. And we record a program, but we also do a live. Okay. So for that reason, do allow follow the 3-minute rule where you call, if we let you in, just limit your conversation, your discussion to 3 minutes, and then we will alert you for say you 3 minutes is up. But now you get for decide for, we don't like for cut people them off, but sometimes some people can talk tapers will cut them off. And because there are other people on the line. If you talk more than 3 minutes, then there are 3-4 people holding. The last person, the fourth person, the third person will get for hold for 15, 20 minutes. And people then get things for do. The other way when I can reach we, of course, we reach you now. When I say can reach we, but the other way then we would reach you now. Now through VOS radio, we get your 91.9 FM station at Freetown. So if you call 91.9 FM, they will be, you should be able to reach we provided you download the VOS app. And for download that, you get for going to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and then now your phone and download the app. The Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, now then 2 places there for go for download the app. When you download the app, you will get 91.9 FM. If you not download the app, you try to reach 91.9 FM, You may reach a radio station with that number there, but it might not be your number. So it might not be your number because you don't use the app. So we strongly encourage you to do that. In addition to that, then they carry we on X, formerly Twitter. Then they carry broadcast on Facebook. Then they carry them on YouTube. So all them places, if you go now vostelevision.com, you should be able to see we. Or if you go to YouTube, now TV, you will be able to see within the record we, and they can bring way up either when the program is going to shortly thereafter. So you will also get Twitch TV. When a VOS television, if you just do that, you will be able to reach we. So there are so many ways you go reach we. Last but not least, we always bring up what we call the VOS Diaspora Helping Hands. Now, a non-profit organization, the VOS set up by owner and operator and producer. So you go on a VOS Diaspora Scholarship Program now. That's what it is. But if you want to go on the internet now, www.vosdiaspora.org. vosdiaspora.org. Now, a non-profit organization with VOS to give scholarship to people, young people in school, in salon, we get the determination, then get the brains, then get the drive, but they not get the money for letting them go further in school because some of them parents not work, some of them parents just sell hand-to-mouth market. So we always try to raise that some money on the side for be able to take care of them people here. So if you get any interest, please contact VOS. Any question we get about that will be fully answered by the owner, the operator, the producer. Just leave a message. VOS will be able to get back with you. But no amount is too small. No amount is too large for help because just humanitarian kind of assistance just for help the poor people. And because we see that all the time, a lot of people and their parents they make enough money. And so then they end up not being able to go to school, boys and girls, because mommy and daddy did not get the means. So we just encourage you now. With that said, let me go back to me, co-host, Mr. Mengot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shillon, and thank you. A lot of people who would reach now, and for Mr. Shillon in case. We don't start by talking about the other paper. Waiting at the other paper. Now the notice where the speaker don't put out say Tuesday, June 28th, now the D-Day. Now the day where this wonderful constitutional amendment bill, now in Parliament to go decide them. And the first thing this way would consider seriously. And one taking it through the steps. We don't talk about the next thing is how Parliament they make law. Waiting at the reference to the Constitution. So we there now, when you are alter Constitution, waiting Parliament say, and waiting then at the Constitution itself, because the document will show how you change the Constitution. When at Section 108, we don't talk say first. Now the Attorney General in office now been draft the sections, but law make them clear to fumble them. The Constitution gets lots of clauses. In fact, we get almost, to be precise, 109 clauses in the Constitution. 109 at the present Constitution. But this constitutional amendment, not deal with the whole Constitution, when that will be always the talk. It only take issues then for deal with the elections, and things that will be done at the tripartite recommendation. With that tripartite recommendation, now the document where the APC and the SLPP they may prepare through the representative for say why do we need to change certain laws, and the laws they will get for change for let Parliament change the law and they for let make sure say people then choose the leader where they want, people then know how to register for vote, people then know how then they call results, people that know waiting at the procurement, then they do how they do procurement for these things then for ballot box and all that thing and there. Because remember the last election we even go lent ballot box to Guinea, where them was on side. So all that thing and there now in this constitutional amendment they upon. So let's go back to section 106, 108, where now in the one we tell we. Because we start first by the Gazette. We don't talk about the Gazette. The non-Gazette are in December because the second reading, the second Gazette, now be December. Now, let's look at 108 when I talk about amendments.
Okay. Trying to get to button.
So 108 say when they non-Gazette and 210, they can't go Parliament now.
It will show.
When they can't go Parliament, before the first reading of the bill, right, we will explain what they mean, right? So that section the 9 say, when you go first, you get the first reading in Parliament, the text of the bill, 9 and the publish them, and the last 2 issues them. But we also get not only the constitutional provision, we get what you call parliamentary standing orders. When a me go able to explain to you now, waiting a parliamentary standing orders. Parliamentary standing orders are rules and procedures of Parliament. We define everything what Parliament they do. And even the MP they out them for behave. Now, the bill say this constitutional bill for amendment, right? You can forget first, according to we standing order, first you get what's then called pre-legislation. What's in a pre-legislation? Pre-legislation, they may not do, I'm going to play a video on that. So that pre-legislation day, now the same way the Attorney General introduced the bill, we call all members of Parliament and the public for come tell them what's in the bill, doing presentation, and ask them for contributes. So for let we put let people know what in them do. We're gonna now ask the control room. Let it play video number 2. We talk about what in them do that pre-legislation. When at the first term, where Parliament and the public be able to do what in and for do for comment about anything way. Then at this bill we get 20 clauses. So control room, if we can get the video.
Hello, we talk small about the trust and accountability part. So plenty citizens them also we read on they talk to. They worry say corruption. They worry about corruption, whether the reform actually go be enforced, and some of the things them where they inside the reform will actually help them. Now, waiting at some of the mechanisms them where una don't put in place for guarantee say the constitutional changes them will be implemented fairly and transparently.
So the point is that we start from the point of acknowledging, say, we live in a low trust environment. There's a huge trust deficit in this country. Plenty time, even the very good things that we want to do, they become victims of that low trust environment, say, in which we live. But government acknowledge that, and I think government take very seriously. We can't blame the public. It's not an SLPP or APC problem. It's a successive governments, and not only this country. They are playing in other countries. If me not well, I go hospital. I know we see doctor. Or I go hospital, doctor see me, but they know will give me medicine. If that happened to me a few times, I need to trust the hospital, right? So if I sick, I likely for pepper doctor myself, or some people then go to traditional medicine man. So, but when we get the hospitals for function, when we get a healthcare system for function, people they see the results, they trust the healthcare system. They will engage with the healthcare system. Same with the justice system. That is how we approach this. That is why we want to make sure, say, this is not only something we government they drive. We want to make sure, say, we bring the public along. We want to make sure, say, there's public understanding, public support, and public ownership of this process. We want to make this process, make people also know, say, this process here, so they strengthen the accountability framework in this country also. Of course, you know, as you get in a lot of countries, you need good people and for apply even the very good laws, right? So yes, Salon we said go get then challenge a day, but that is why we make a commitment for continue for do the good work, make sure say the work they about the people, but also work with systems where they hold we accountable, strengthen the judiciary as an independent oversight mechanism, make sure Parliament stand as an independent oversight mechanism, so that way we get real separation of powers. But make sure that the structures where this new constitution has to go create, then structures and they work for the people. When we do that, they repeatedly, and really make sure that we're not informing the people just like that. We are making the people part of the process, not taking decisions on their behalf, but making them part of the decision-making process. They will trust this process here, so and they will own them as a own.
Well, Fambulem, waiting will happen because when this bill come, one of the things that way the Attorney General been go Parliament, it go show people them what he intend for do. But now explain one thing, we come out clearly. In the clauses then waiting at the bill, some of them they way we call entrenched clause, and some they way na non-entrenched clause, and I will explain what in that they mean. And section 108 clearly states the entrenched clause, and some them they inside this bill. And the Attorney General did say, it talks say there's no law which say you're not going to put entrenched clause and non-entrenched clause. Let's start by explaining what's in an entrenched and non-entrenched clause. Because I be big English for people there. Because when you take the Constitution, I tell you, say you get over 100 clauses there. So, when they amend the Constitution, you get some clauses in there where you do on through this constitutional bill or constitutional instrument. We down there for amend them, you get forget 2/3 majority. So they go debate them. The members they go give their opinion, then they go put them to votes, then they will get 2/3 majority of the members of Parliament, not to members present. Law make that clear because that don't be controversy. Then you get some other clauses them where they want and they what you they call the entrenched clause. Now because they want make say they're not going to change them frequently. Because you know say we get these executive powers where the president can order for change things them. We'll be see for example, I'll give you an example where the president the last time the ECSL commissioner being actually talk to the president, say he want to bring a PR system, we be not there at the bill. Because it's the way they introduce that PR system in our constitution, now through an amendment, when a 2/3 majority. So with entrenched clause, you cannot amend them without going back to the people. Because the constitution, for letting you get them, you go to the people, then you tell them what thing you want to do, then get a referendum. What's in a referendum? Referendum in a way, you they allow the people then for say they accept what you they propose or not. So you get to go through a vote. nationally a referendum, just like how they make election. So when you talk about entrenched clause, for instance, chapter 3 in our constitution, we talk about fundamental human rights, things to do with for make sure say you suppress people the right to freedom of association, freedom of joining a political party. Then an entrenched clause, you cannot amend them unless you go get a referendum bill. Then you go to a constitutional referendum where you go ask the question to people them for let them vote for them. Now, in this bill, we get 2 clauses them where the entrenched clause, and then they deal with section 85 and 86, 85 and 87 of the Constitution. And I will tell you now what they be. And the relevant clauses the way they the amendment, constitutional amendment, now clause 15 and 16. And now this debate with Parliament, they go debate. Then clause and they cannot amend them without a referendum. So I'll tell you now waiting then they be. Then after that, I will left me legal party for let it talk about these things, because now serious problem. Because when you mix entrenched clause, something we need for go through referendum and some way with amendments, then they get a serious process of the bill the constitution will pass. So if you look at what did the constitution say? Let's look at section 85 of the constitution. 85 of the constitution now in deal with the life of Parliament. And it says, Parliament shall stand dissolved at the expiration of a period of 5 years commencing from the date of its first sitting after a general election. Then it says, if there is an existence of a state of public emergency, say like we get Kuskas, like we get Ebola, now make sure that we extend by Koroma in term, right? You can only extend the election term day by no more than 6 months. So you can extend that to 6 months, one term. So now look at the constitutional amendment bill, we then get, because that day, if we talk about section clause 15, I go make people know what's in a clause 15, because that clause there, now deal with the time where they get election. So then in an entrenched clause, so Parliament not going for change them under an amendment without going. What it says section 85 of the Constitution is amended by the repeal and replacement of that section with the following new section. Then they deal with the life of the Parliament. It says the term of the House of Parliament expires on the date of the next general election. So in other words, they want to extend Parliament time beyond the 5 years. Because the 5 years of Parliament time, now from the first sitting of Parliament. So after we get the election in June 2023, I think say the first sitting of Parliament will probably take place a couple of weeks after, right? So that first sitting of Parliament day, now that 10 day, 9 Parliament done in time done. If you extend that any time after that, it means that you don't violate the Constitution. Now that section 85C and clause 15. So clause 15 cannot be amended under this process. So waiting the Attorney General will say, they will get for expunge them from the constitutional bill and put on one side. Because now an entrenched clause, where means say you cannot change that without a referendum. So now we'll go to section 87 again of the Constitution, the other thing. where na entrenched clause. Where 87, what's 87 deal with? 87, now talk about the general election of members of parliament shall be held not earlier than 30 days and not later than 90 days after any dissolution of parliament. But then, if you go back to the clause where they want change, it talks about clause 16 of this new constitutional amendment. Now it talk about a general election for members shall be held the second Saturday in November in every 5 year, every 5th year. So if they amend that section there, you cannot do that because it will prolong the life of parliament, contrary to the provision of the constitution. So then two clauses in there, 16 and 17, we don't amend section 85 and 87 of the constitution, now entrenched clause, and they cannot do it during this constitutional review. I know it's a mouthful, but let's stop there. Let's give me legal person. Let me say for God much and this talk so.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. Again, I don't think so we can ask for a better person for explain waiting would try for explain than Mr. Mengot. What you need to see now, this is, first of all, I think we're trying to do too little, too late in terms of the amendment of the Constitution. And based upon, Mr. Mengot, I stand corrected, based upon what I hear you say, is that a lot of the drafting of the Constitution, somehow, or the amendment here, seem to be wholly and solely in the hands or at the advice of the Attorney General's office. First of all, I get quite, if we try for amend with Constitution, so it will work. And let me just lay this predicate. This is the reason why we want more lawyers' participation. We want more legal groups there. Sierra Leone, for being involved. We are not begging people but we are asking people who seem to know anything about these proposed changes they want to try to make, for call them shows them here, because we are putting out quite a lot which the ordinary man no go understand. But some people will go by asking questions, because one thing questions do is to create clarifications, because people don't ask questions on something they don't know anything about. Now, something where they don't know anything about, where they want for try to get some understanding of, now they can call and ask questions. So they try for level get with professionals then, particularly in the legal side, make them they take them seriously and call shows like this and other shows that where they deal with the matter, because we can't keep complaining when these laws are passed, procedures are not followed. Then we begin to see abnormalities. Then all of a sudden we begin complaining about the government in power at the time where they exercise their power, with the Constitution they try to forgive them. Now is the time for them to talk about them here, exchange if we love a country. And again, I'm always, and I think the right way for look at the changes of any laws in a country, you get to be viewed suspiciously. You get to wonder why they want to change certain things. And why now? Make them explain that. Because we can change 2-3 things, because I see the Attorney General talk something like this for say, one thing about the system in Sierra Leone, we get low trust in the system, but it is common in a lot of African countries then, this low trust in the system. Well, one of the reasons why people they get low trust, because when they see the results of which the laws that were passed are not beneficial to them and advantageous to quite a lot, to a few. I mean, but it disadvantageous to the majority of the people. So then they see the results, and then the figure say, well, something not right. So this is the same thing. So what you mean to suggest, level professionals them, or lawyers them, particularly they participate, and some of them shows there, where we didn't think so we're wrong, or where we are wrong, come on board, tell us. This is not just a mutual thing. It has nothing to do, we don't know it all, and we're not, they say we're not experts. In fact, we always issue this disclaimer based upon our own personal knowledge. So if we are interpreting something, we want to think, say, no to the way things are, call us, participate. You're always invited. On a short notice, we'll bring you on board and let you straighten out something we want to think is the wrong thing. Let me stop right there. Just read the comments if it is something worth discussing. The PR system was forced on the citizens during the 1923 general election. It was challenged by the late Abdullahi Conte, but overruled by the Chief Justice and was rewarded as ambassador. Was rewarded. The Chief Justice was rewarded with an ambassadorial position. Okay, let me. The wording of the thing, but I get the gist of this question. That I take it that the implication here, then they say Abdullahi Conte raised some issues. Dr. Abdullahi Conte raised some issues about the problem with the Constitution. But because of that, the implication here now, I'm not saying that's what this person is saying. I may be wrong. You can call back or call. And the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice overruled Dr. Abdullahi Conte, and then for that, for watching the Chief Justice do, then reward the Chief Justice ambassadorial position. I'm not sure that's how it went. I'm not sure the Chief Justice was rewarded because of that. The Chief Justice was constructively sacked. You know, he wasn't rewarded, all under an extrajudicial act on the part of the president and the executive. I don't think the law is clear as to, because what I recall, the press release was the Chief Justice was going on vacation and acting, they will put somebody in place while he's on vacation. So way back, some of we raised an issue. We say, no, the president don't get that power there, because vacation doesn't mean you are out of the job. Being on vacation doesn't call for an acting. You're still the Chief Justice. In today's world, from wherever you are, you still maintain the office. You can deal with certain things. Some of us raised the issue that we nobody thinks that the president get the power to do that. The trouble is, as I always say, these laws are not challenged when the president exercises. And I'm not saying the president shouldn't have done that, because the president will always reach out for power we not get. With the same in America have too. With the same. But that's why you have the other house, like Congress. That's why you have the judiciary. And so for race, but the judiciary, no, we just take case by themselves. Some civil group or professional group have to take upon themselves, grab the bull by the horn, and take the matter to court and get some finality in the interpretation of, or distinct interpretation of what certain clauses mean. But I was one of those where say, no, the Chief Justice being made, what you have been named himself, okay, I don't remember his name again, the Chief Justice's name, but he was being removed forcibly. I'm sure.
Chief Justice Thompson.
No, it wasn't Thompson. It was, I will get his name. It wasn't Thompson. But when he was, Babatunde Edwards.
Babatunde Edwards, sorry.
Yeah, correct.
Babatunde Edwards,
so Babatunde Edwards was forced, no reason was given. The clause say the president can fire the Chief Justice for cause. but we were not told that. They say he was going on vacation. And then the president appointed Justice Brown Mark, as acting Chief Justice. I don't think all of that was right, but you get the legal profession and sit down and not challenge that and just let the president grab that power and they're not challenge him. But the reason why you get three separate arms of government, now for maintain a balance, because Parliament will try to reach for power where they don't get. The executive will try to grab power, particularly in the area where it is not clearly defined, say not to presidential power down there. The legal profession as well as civil activist groups them and public interest groups them, therefore step in. But with the way trade and lawyer then get out of hand, then we begin making a whole lot of noise. So I take the position that the professions are not doing their job. It's not enough to just be called a lawyer. And one thing, not all lawyers go be constitutional lawyer, because the law wide, an admiralty lawyer or a divorce lawyer or property lawyer.
Mr. Sheila, I think because of the things that we'll get for examine, the PR system, how it come about and what we discuss is part of this discussion later on key issues. Okay. So we can go into detail about that. So I think let's continue with this.
Let me take a call. Let me take a call. There's a call. If you don't mind that, take that. Hello, caller. Okay. What's your name? Where's the call from? Hello, caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Okay, well, the caller is still on the line, but I don't know what's happening with his own his telephone line. So we can go back to Mr. Mengot. Mr. Mengot, back to you.
Okay. So now we don't talk about this entrenched clause and non-entrenched clause. So what thing will happen? According to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, clause 15 and 16 of this amendment should be set aside for a referendum. It cannot be voted upon during this term because it's an entrenched clause. So now let's look at the procedure. We also listen to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice where he talk about trust and inclusivity. So when the first way people can get time for comments on this bill, now during pre-leg, and what do they mean by pre-leg? Pre-legislation is defined under the Parliamentary Standing Order. And as I say, the Parliamentary Standing Order now rules and procedures of Parliament. So now SO 47, we can hear where people like say, Mr. Speaker, SO 21, SO 33, SO means Standing Order. So Standing Order Rule 47, subparagraph 2, what does it say? It says a pre-legislative scrutiny and discussion of a bill in camera may be arranged where necessary between members and the minister or members in charge of a bill, such as the encounter may be open to participation of stakeholders if this participation at this stage is considered necessary. So this pre-leg where they get, they not do it in camera. They do it openly. The Attorney General, he do a PowerPoint presentation. He talk about the reason why they bring the bill. He talk about the relationship between some of the clauses in the bill with things we've been doing at the Cowan Commission. He talk about the necessity for this bill for deal with electoral matters. Then he open to discussion. We're gonna be open debate. We've been getting some of the MPs then, including the leader of government business, when Sir Matthew Newman. We've been getting the leader of the opposition, when Abdul Kagbo. We got the ministers them. We've been getting the famous lawyer Basita Michael, where they represent ILRAJ, Institute for Legal Reform and Administrative Justice. We got the MP them. So it was so much of a controversy because people are the first 10 people and get time for question the efficacy or the relevance or how much clear this constitutional amendment be. So what did the Minister of Justice been do at the time? They now call for people and for put in a position paper. What's in a position paper? And I will explain to Famble them how they consider position paper when they do any amendment. So they ask for people for bring position paper and then they say them for go for further consultation. So now that may be the delay. So after the pre-leg, we now get the first reading. Waiting at the first reading. The first reading in a bill, right? It will tell you about this now when you present the bill to Parliament. So the bill they present on behalf of the government, and then all the bill they do, it will tell you, say this bill be read the first time, that the Minister of Justice, Attorney General, and they present the bill and say this bill they go read it now for the first reading. That means in an introductory, they tell you what you're all about. Then after that, they vote whether for continue the debate. At this stage in the first reading, now the usual when they can say as many as agree say aye. When I hear the sound of the voice, to the contrary, no, then the speaker go hit the hammer and say the ayes have it, which means the bill for go to the second reading. But now, this is very interesting because when they ask for people to forgive position paper, now for then go further consultation and then position paper they then for consider them. So it's very strange when I see the other paper, the speaker say on that particular day when a Tuesday, then go do the first reading, they will do the second reading, then go do the committee stage, and I will describe the one and then go do the third reading for one day. We're not possible in this case. So we don't want to let Parliament bulldoze them way. Because from the position paper them, when they don't put so far, they get a record of them. You get a variety of interests. For instance, even among the legal lawyers themselves, you get ILRAJ, they get their own view. Then at the Institute for Legal Reform, we're headed by Barrister Michael. Sierra Leone Bar Association themselves puts their own position paper. Lawyer Society put their own position paper. So among the lawyers, the law profession, there are three different bodies that put them paper than they. Then you get the religious group, Seventh-day Adventists, they put their own. Then you get other one them, you get civil society, National Union of Civil Society Organization, Human Rights Commission, when a quasi-government body, Disability Rights Movement, they get National Election Watch. But ironically, of all the political parties them, we get 16 political parties them, including SLPP and APP. Now only one political party put in a position paper, when at the Unity Party. All the other hand we been go and give the government the nod for appoint Edmund Alpha. None of them not put a position paper. You get individuals themselves who put position paper, like Mr. Abdulaziz Kamal, and even a former deputy minister, Lawrence Lima. They put them. So if the speaker now they say MPs therefore take them position paper into consideration when they debate the bill, I not think say for them for able to do them, therefore don't get all their position paper then they, and even we the members of the public, Parliament for don't make it available to their website so that we go follow the debate and the voting pattern for see whether the MPs them pay attention to some of them debate here and then position paper. But the term there where they will consider them. So this second reading, what it means, let's start by that. The second reading, according to the standing order, right? When I and they go parliament, what thing they go do? On a motion moved by the minister, that is standing order 50, subsection 1. So the minister therefore move a motion for say, let I read the bill for a second time. And he go talk about the general merits of the bill, the principles of the bill may be debated. And then, if the motion is carried, consequently the speaker will now ask for a debate. And when in a debate, under this second reading, now that and they debate the bill clause by clause. What I mean by clause? The bill already get 20 clause, including them 2 I don't tell you, I say now entrenched clause where they can't pass on this time. So then the debate and clause by clause, people then go put the amendment, then go put onto a vote. And the vote means they not go vote them in bulk. So each clause then go vote them in separately. Because when you do the second reading, what thing they can do where I think say the government want to do. Now the committee of the whole house, because now that they mean do, where they mean pass that bill, forget the special protection service. That committee of the whole house day is separate from legislative committee. So what in the committee of the whole house mean? It means when the non-debates the bill clause by clause, the House committee now, they begin review the bill line by line and clause by clause. So then they vote each one. And for pass any of them clause, then you get forget a 2/3 majority. So that's now the main thing when they go do on Tuesday. And given the controversy and the expanse of the bill where they get, the different thing the way they get, it's not going to be possible for them to complete that in one day. That's the first part. Because then at the examination of the bill, when at the debate, followed by the committee of the whole house, when I go look at amendments and put them to a vote. So let's stop here. Let's see if my colleague get anything we want to clarify or question we want to answer.
Okay, make I see if I can take a call again. Then I do have 1 or 2 questions. Hello, caller. Which name you say to call from?
Yes, Mr. Shilon, I'm me again. Before the Mustafa had the call.
All
You
right,
get me now?
Mr. Mustafa. Yes. Thank you for calling.
Okay, no problem, sir. I know say you always the one forbidden try the law. I mean, they made the lawyer and do their jobs.
Yes.
Well, I'll make you understand, say, the problem here is that because of the power in state house, some of them have given up because they know the result already. Look, I'll just give you an example. I don't talk over and over. We didn't talk about this PR before. The APC challenge them. We then challenge them put a position, say, here, na the first past the post, now they take precedence unless something has happened. We nothing happened at this situation. What was the ruling of the Supreme Court? Then just say the ECSL get the right for propose for use the PR. That was not the question they went to court for. So I will just tell you, say yes, if I'm for letting challenge, but we say deja vu. We know already what's going to happen. So this now the thing this way we don't defend ourselves. Way to me, I would also say there should be an intent to change these powers, to move them away. But we think
Mm-hmm.
Alpha say don't count in the Parliament. Now for just give the power president more powers. So Naime can say, they wait for it. I see what they happen Tuesday because as Mr. Mengo do outline, it's impossible because the clause they would the halala clause enforce the past 5. So me and the presume say the APC go work out of most of them. They left them there if they want to do that in bulk because now what I've seen right now. Because of the peace where they don't get old, then they work together. That make they say, you know what? Let we use this momentum now. Let we go with lose at one point. So this is what is going to happen on Tuesday. So we wait for we see the reaction of the APC. But as I always talk, say, Salon will not get democracy. We not get democratic laws. Because when you talk about the law or Constitution 1, 2, 3, which is say and these laws were made by people who had intentions. Everybody knows say the APC thought they were not going to go out of power. So they're going to put things in that constitution where they favor them forever. Until then, then the courts, when the court we are, then the court we under. So this is what I'm saying that if we not get intention for people to change it genuinely, we government forget hand there because they get interest. And as Kurma, he do better thing. We don't count them. Because you know say get interest, now you say it will am all together. Mr. Buchanan power criticizing that move, meaning say Ingo adopt the document as it is. But no, in back he can't be pick and choose. I want this one, give me that banana, give me that potato, no this onion, I for put under. No, I don't want this ogiri. It talk all the thing there. Now I don't come put them. Some people favor their party. Where they stay in power, now they put inside that document. There's no intention whatsoever for them people that sacrifice this comfort where they don't get through that so-called constitution where they give them. Now he make them always comfortable with it. And if you see lawyers today, they are tired. Look, Zainab in case now. Zainab na civil matter. All lawyers don't talk na civil matter. This na civil. This is not a criminal business. They give them even bail, they don't give them bail. They sentence them to 4 years. The hotel will say, we not get democracy. We get one man who sit down inside that small house, what they call White House or State House. Now they the powers then they. And anybody who sit down at any office, it be Attorney General law, it be Chief Justice law, it be who's kind of that person, he has to protect his job if he wants to get that salary within they win a very high salary. So now this is the core of the matter here that we get people that we're selfless. We good talk say, you know what? This country deserves to go further. And before the country go further, we forget laws the way they make sure say this man which is status now an ordinary person wouldn't get a job for do. And all the other institutions for work independently, we not forget handy. This now you no one let's go. Look at the non sit down na a corner. They say they get a lot of election. Then agree now, not to then no more. Then get people that they car with them spend money. Now all anything they do, they don't go agree say if we can make election 50+1, not a general say simple majority. Where they mean say even for somebody with 20%, if they get the highest vote, it be president. Then no go sit down and talk say the PR for go to the people that will get a system. We the people in favor. Now what they do, now what they want, because all the people who don't give the position say they favor first past the post. All of these things, even for Tuesday, the flag commissioner, they say they will make a panel. Now they say the president and the appointed people, not to they agree. So we are not going to go anywhere. Me, I know I see that they are if this work out. Because if they don't they get people who they in between they vote for the will they vote for the SLP. That I will tell everybody that. Because these people are poor. If they give $100,000 for make you vote for the ruling party so that they will not be held accountable, they will give you that money. They even have 1 million they give you. So now the point is what I put forth to this constitution issue. We are not ready yet. We're not ready for go before yet. How you go inside this 2026? He said reform the constitution, he put back those draconian laws inside it. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very
Okay,
much,
thank
Mr.
you.
Mustafa. Well, thank you, as always. Now, I want to just ask Mr. Mengot. Now, of course, you just say, again, by implication, Parliament knows, say, based upon your experience, Mr. Mengot, that the things that were involved, the procedure involved, the details that have to be dealt with, no go allow all of that to be resolved in one day, as the Parliament is claiming they want to do with a law as important as amending the Constitution of major sections. Them, and you even say what you need to do might take weeks, if not months. And yet we have a Parliament. So I come up with one of two conclusions: either they do not understand parliamentary procedure, the parliamentarians themselves, or they do and they deliberately want to just shortcut the system, and as the law will not get no good things for the country but for a handful of people. They either know, they don't care, or they just don't know. Either way, then there's no excuse, because there's a certain expectation that they should know. And if they don't know, I think where we should start with the only amendment here, because none of these things will ever work. I keep saying it. If we not restructure the foundation, first of all, we get a constitution that says the president is a member of parliament. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. And shame on the people that would have that constitution, they will put that in there. He is not and should not be part of the of parliament. He is the head of one branch of the three separate arms of government. So right there, if we talk about amendment, that portion, they should be amended. President should have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with parliament in terms of appointment or administration of anything in the parliament. The only thing was wrong with that, when I give power to the presidency and then go appoint the clerk of parliament, that's another rubbish. So with that and so many other things that we want to put in the constitution, with the talk about amended, this is not the fundamental thing that we amend. Before we even get into all that complicated thing, I'm amazed that the tripartite or whatever, they did not see something wrong with anything there. But this is not the foundation way for the future of a country. So we don't get all the problem there. Now we get the parliamentary procedure. If you listen carefully to Mr. Mengot, and I'm not even qualified to restate what Mr. Mengot say, because he can restate what he say. But one thing I get from that, Parliament is now going to do a second reading that is almost impossible to be done in a week's time, considering all of what is involved. They already announced they want to do that in one day. That's just to show you how, I don't know what to call that. Now, when a newsman, these are all the things we should be talking about if we care about the country. When a newsman who happened to be in Parliament one day, sit down and listen to some of them parliamentarians there, come up with stuff. When the newsman go in your right for doing job, when he refer to the people as either on the parliamentarians them, he was banned for life from the grounds of Parliament. Where are the lawyers? Does the Speaker of the House have that power to ban anyone from the grounds of Parliament? Which is based that power they own? Lawyers, please wake up. It's not always the politicians that we should be looking up to. Now, want to be a lawyer, be one. Look out for the country. Sir.
Let's continue with this procedure.
No, let me finish that point there. I appreciate that. But I'm pleading to my lawyers there. When I take interest in some of the discussion I will get, when I listen to them conversations there, join us, come on these shows or other shows dealing seriously with anything, and give one eye on best for the good of the country. Because we can do all this intellectual exercise unless we appeal to our emotions, and try to explain to us why it's so important that we for participate and leave politics out. At the end, with us to spin we will, we're not going anywhere. Back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Yes, sir. Just as I was saying, this second reading, because what they can do, they can debate on Tuesday. And when you talk about the debates, when you check the clauses, them you will talk about 20 clauses of that bill, right? And a lot of them they were not controversial clauses, them, where they're not going to just pass and through. And there should be a link between that debate of them clauses and the position paper where people they send. Because the speaker now just say, MPs therefore beware of waiting the position paper, then wait them present. Because I expect say this session go be live in a parliament where they go show it. So now citizens' participation, it be for even better for them, they don't do a breakdown of them position paper here. For each person we submit, whose clause they concern about, waiting at the concern, waiting at the amendment, waiting at the government position. So people like can follow. Bearing in mind like the advanced parliament, of which I have been part of it, MPs then get researchers them. We are MP, they not get researchers. Even the political parties them, if they not be able to get researcher for all MP, I don't see no reason why political parties they not forget. I don't say parliament get researchers. Yeah, you get the parliamentary library. But they are not enough for able advise MPs them for very serious issues them, we will stand the test of time. Because if we take the present constitution, it's over 3 decades. And section 108 say, that section there itself is an entrenched clause. And then therefore vote clause by clause. Now put a timeline. If you get 20, let's say you get 20 clauses, right? If you say on average, each clause, the debate, they last 15 minutes. Yeah? Not even amendment. So if you times that by 20, you talk about 300 minutes. Yeah? So divide that by an hour, 60 minutes to an hour. Even if you take 5 hours, you're not able to do just the debate. And 108 says specifically, then go for votes for let the bill go through the third reading, 2/3 majority. And let's put it this way, even before you go the third reading, after the committee of the whole house where they now vote, they therefore announce now for let the bill go to the legislative committee. It has to go to the legislative committee before the third reading. And why they go to the legislative committee? The legislative committee, they go consider the amendments where they make during the second reading. They go look at the position paper the way people they send. Then also, a bill of this nature, they should now invite people and for can give oral evidence. Because you cannot pass that bill without oral evidence. Because waiting some man can write in a paper, when he come before the committee, he can for express himself as to what he mean. Remember, the Constitutional Committee only comprised of 16 members. And then 16 members and the political party we get the majority seats in the parliament, now then get the majority members, plus the paramount chief. So for doing properly, when that committee, they look at anything and the report that they put, it get for include dissenting views. And also, any recommendation where they make for amendments, if it be contrary to the position paper, the way people they send, there has to be a justification for that. So we're in for a marathon, not a sprint. So in my view, and based on my parliamentary knowledge and experience, after, if they're able to complete the second reading, the House Committee, on Tuesday, which is impossible, they therefore announce a date for the bill for go through proper scrutiny by the Legislative Committee. Over to you, sir.
Okay, just taking from, again, what you did try for educate way about, and having mentioned that the process will be a marathon, not a sprint, meaning that we will take time with, not to rush through. I raise the question again. Are our MPs informed enough to understand the significance of this bill whether they try for pass through parliament and how it will impact society? Are they also do they even also understand the process? Because the more, Mr. Mengot, you talk, the more it appears to me, again, like I said earlier, either the MPs them don't know much about parliamentary procedure, or they just don't care. In either case, it is disappointing, to say the least. The other thing we would talk about, you mentioned something about staffing in terms of research assistants for parliaments. These are some of the things that if we want to improve the system, we should be talking about. Because it looks like, for say, parliament or the parliamentarians, they need an additional help with assistance where they will be able to get people in for research then issues here and come back to the respective parliamentarians then, so when they vote, then go vote knowingly and intelligently, because they are aware, they've been briefed. I don't expect to parliamentarians them for become experts in the law. So, but they are the parliamentarians, they can come up with provision where for add to the parliamentary process or composition, the idea of additional staffing. I think having a library in parliament, that alone doesn't solve the problem, because the library is there for people to just use at their position, but not for assist and inform parliamentarians, brief them on matters of importance such as this and changes we want. So something has to be done. Sometimes if we in the order of priority, I think, because I see the parliamentarians and they even talk about, oh, forget some wonderful medical insurance, which is another issue. So we have to compare that with respect to watching with the try to do so and say which one is more important. I take the position that we should have more staffing. We should have more staffing for parliamentarians. They should be able to be well informed when they kind of parliament, like, because this concerns me. When Mr. Mengot lay out the process involved in the second, third, all then reading in there, and we get parliament to tell the public right now for say, hey, we're going to do all of this in one day, even to up to the third reading. So, I mean, this doesn't even sound real to me. So these are some of the observations then. And I'm calling on the legal profession because sometimes some of these matters because no parliament is not above the law, so they can be stopped by the courts. Now, Mr. Mustafa did say something about, well, in foresee the APC not going to do anything, then could us waiting, decline or withdraw. They have to stop that practice. They need to know how to fight. Use the rules. Not to every time when I go boycott parliament and then turn around and use it against you now. Come on. So if that's the goal, if that's the aim, shame on them. Because the people that look at you now as an alternative to the current government. So if you can't fight for the people and we're in opposition, why should the people expect, say, when I go stand up and fight and when I get ability to fight? This thing about, well, we know how the court will rule. No, the law not allow that. You're not going to anticipate how the law will rule. Even if you reasonably anticipate, you can't use that as the basis for contest certain things. You have to contest it, So, but for that to let it happen, take place, law passed, then we all begin complaining, say, well, we know say the judges then go do what the government do. We know why the judges then to do that. I bring the point earlier. Can they do that? But they aren't, because they aren't then at the mouth of the president. Change the system so the president cannot sack. We get the power for sack. What you would go through in this country right now, if not to be the legal profession, if not to be the courts, America has become a dictatorship. The reason why we're able to still proceed now because you have strong court system. The president can't do anything as far as firing judges. So please, let we not sit down and pretend like we say we're not in this world, we're not see what can go on. If we want change the system, let we left all the flowery thing there, section this, section that. We know what's in the problem. Take away the power from the president for those unreasonably sacked judges. Give the judges their lifetime appointment if it's necessary, or long-term appointment, 10 years, 12 years. Then we'll show some seriousness. Otherwise, all this we talk about a waste of time. They're not going to amount anywhere. Let me take a call, Mr. Mengo, then I'll pass it back to you. Hello, caller. What's your name? Which side to call from?
Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mengo, Mr.
Shilon, yeah.
Yeah, the way Mr. Mengo explained, educate me about parliamentary procedure, it seems that the parliament, the leadership of parliament, don't know what they do. Because the speaker of parliament, the leadership, then the administration there. With all this procedure, when you go accordingly, it means that they fall short because of lack of administrative. According to what Mr. Shilon said, it might be say the member of parliament don't know the procedure, including the Speaker of the House. It would be a shame to the Speaker of the House, but short of things like this be going, where they fall short. I don't just understand. A serious bill like this, constitutional amendment, with seriousness for them. Look at it, look at the fall short. Then one person pass them for one day. Are you serious? I can't believe it. It's a shame to the Speaker of Parliament. What's that on the head for? I don't just understand, Mr. Killer and Mr. Manga. Picture. Okay, I just be careful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I got a quick question for Mr. Mengot.
Yeah.
With respect to the position papers there, I often hear you say Parliament, the website, a lot of times is down. You know, when you check out for get information, which would be the most reliable source, a lot of times you can't access them because it's not working. That said, these position papers, them, how adequately has Parliament informed the public adequately? I mean, not that they've not made any effort to ensure receipt or them receiving these position papers. By what means are they supposed to be sent so it can be acknowledged that position papers were received? Can you tell us, sir? What you specify, say, how personal?
Well, according to the Speaker announcement during the term of the bill, where they say they forget the bill in Parliament on Tuesday, it gives a list of all the people then we don't send position paper. Roughly the organizations in roughly about 15. Then you get about 6 individuals them we don't send the position paper. Now, referring to what you ask, them position paper are now areas of concern. Because for instance, if you see position paper by religious bodies, if you look at the bill, when we talk about the appointment of electoral commissioners and also the PPRC chairman, the religious bodies them have to be represented. But we know which one will they choose? Because even if you take this one now, you don't get Seventh-day Adventists. You also get interreligious council. You get a committee of imams. So how do you decide? Because according to the bill, the clause where they did, say that the president therefore decide who than them people and the way they represent them bodies then they. So that position paper, as you say, normally they will tell you to send it to the clerk of parliament. But when you go to the clerk of parliament, why do we have a parliamentary website? It means they should be published. Ideally, what they should do, in fact, the parliamentary website forget a section. Because if you look at the parliamentary website, I will tell you, under parliamentary business, it gets section where you get bills, amendments, and motions, right? So there should be a link whereby all the information here, within the send, will be accessible to the public. Because that's the only way the public will able to judge. Because for instance, I'll give you an example. If you take some of the people that will submit, for instance, you get a National Union of Civil Society Organization. Let's just take that one group. It comprises a number of civil society organizations with diverse interests. So issues to do with civil society and the public, people therefore able to know within that organization they go put on their behalf, because it therefore affects them, because there are clauses in the bill where they decide how you they choose your MP. And even if you want to become an MP and aspiring politician, or you want to become you want object to, let me give you an example. If you want to petition a bill, or you want to petition an election result, right? Some of them think they are with their position paper raised. As long as you don't go to parliament, you can quote them for object to somebody being elected a member of parliament under the PR system. So the position papers are very important. One, they therefore be accessible to the public. Two, all members of parliament should have every position paper. And for that reason, then for even the government, for even the summarizer, even the attorney general, when I himself get access, now they did the bill. Enough for just go put statement tomorrow or Tuesday for say, this na social consultation will do. We know say you then you don't question what does consultation mean. Let's take the PR system for instance. We talk say, then for consult widely on the PR system. But let's deal with that because that is of concern to people then. Let me go to clause 1 of the amendments of the bill because these are key issues. If I let people they know. Right? When you check the bill, let's look at this one, for example. Right? When they talk about amendments for the PR system, then you get section 32. Then the first one, we deal with the change in the name. Now something we don't talk about. Section 32 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, Act number 6 of 1991, is amended by substituting the words Electoral Commission with the words National Electoral Commission, wherever they occur. So if you don't change them from Electoral Commission to National Electoral Commission, it means that it will get a corresponding effect on the existing law where ESS will get. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, because by name, it just like say if they charge you to court, you name Mohammed Shillon, then you don't change your name to Abdul Shillon. Is Mohammed Shillon and Abdul Shillon the same person?
No. No.
Exactly. The way they go change the name of the ECSL, you get to see the effect of the legislation we create the ECSL, which is sanctioned by the Constitution. Then at one point, let me go to another one. Because I find out they do this example. Again, it comes back to now, the beasts. Then at clause 4, section 38 of the Constitution of 1991. What in section 38 deal with? 9 deal with issues for deal with this PR system. It starts by saying for repeal and replace subsection with the following new. The Electoral Commission acting with the approval of Parliament signified by a resolution determine the number of members of Parliament to be elected in each district for the purpose of electing members of Parliament under section paragraph 6. So in other words, the Electoral Commission, then they determine, the number of seats per district. And how do you determine that per district? Right? Normally we don't know, say, the census figures and they use. Then they say, a district established under this shall return a member of parliament from a list of candidates submitted by a political party for election as member of parliament. So in other words, let's take section 38. You get 38, they get 38A. They say, let's pull 38A. We talk about PR system. But let you get this new section. But also we get the real controversy is if you want to allocate seats per district, you get to take a population census data. And now the census will get now 2026. But listen to what in the bill say. It said, subsection D, it said, provided that where the final report of a decennial census is published at or less than 24 months before a general election, the data collected from that census shall not be used for determining the number of parliamentary representatives for that general election. So in other words, this census, what they do in 2026, the result, you cannot use that for determining the number of seats per district. So which data would you use? Because you talk about decennial. Decennial means every 10 years. The last time we'll get a decennial census, now 2015. So these are some of the controversies. Now hang on there, let's see if you want any more question and clarification.
Okay, one or two things. Number one,
Yeah.
Listening to you talking about determining who votes or how people vote, the determination, but I don't know how it reads because you don't read the clause. If without the census, I don't know how else they're going to be able to determine what number of parliamentarians are they going to have in certain constituencies. That's one. Number two, my thing is if you can determine based on the census to increase parliamentarians, does this section also give the power if the area decrease in population? If you get a large exodus of people from a certain constituency, say to Pepel, where you get shipment of the say job broke out today, more people go to the Pepel area, or come to Freetown, or go to Pujeon district, now there by the seaside, Sumbuya area. So people say from the north, go to Sumbuya because there is a development of a new seaport or something. Mass exodus of people and the population suddenly decrease. Does this section also address that without a decrease in population there, that the parliament or everybody or the way the law is written, can the number of parliamentarians be reduced because of a shortage or a lack or a decrease in the number of people in a certain area? I don't know if I had framed the question right. I don't have to determine if they address increase in population. It seems to me correspondingly they will be talking about in the event that were to happen. Because
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
The first question we'll get for consider now, which census data are they going to use to allocate seats? Right? Let's go to what happened in 2023. In 2023, they used the figures for the 2015 decimal census, when every 10 years, then are the one where they be used for 2018 election. Then they use the midterm census. So they combine the two and find the average. Now, what happened at that time? When they use that, if you remember, say, now that 10 them in tell we say, due to shift in population, they allocate more seats them to Kenema districts compared to Western Urban. So in other words, what they were trying to tell us, that there's been a shift in population from Western Urban to Western Rural. We're not two different ones. So there's a reduction. So to answer your question, yes, if the distribution of population reduces in a particular district, then correspondingly, the number of seats allocated to that district should reduce. But again, the key question is, which census data do you use? Because the very same bill say you cannot use any other data unless a decennial census. And a decennial census what they get now 2026. And again, it say you cannot use that figure the 24 months before the election. Right?
Yeah.
So when are we going to have this one? It's December 2026. Knowing say they done the counting, they do validation, it will take another 6 months, right? Let's say you get everything completed by July 2027. And according to current timetable, election should be held 5 years after the first sitting, which will be July 2028, which means it not meets that 24 months threshold. But again, Parliament can extend them because law go to clause 8 within the possible. We talk about a presidential election shall be held on the second Saturday in November in every 5th year. Second Saturday in November, which means you are now extending the time of the president in tenure more than the 5 years. Because if they elect the president in June 2023 to June 2028, now 5 years. So if you now say the election for president will be November.
November, exactly.
Yeah. So unless you trigger that section, we say you can extend them by another 6 months, but you get for justifier. Then the other thing where now the key thing is because when you do any bill, you get to get a commencement date of that building in the clauses. So will some of those clauses take immediate effect? For instance, when you change the law for the PPRC commissioner, if the law don't pass, that means you get to revisit the present incumbent in position, whether I can still hold that position. So there's a lot of controversy. So over to you, sir. Then we can go to another clause where now a very biting one.
Okay.
Because again, as I say, that's section 38 there. Then the act say the 38A when they be used for bring PR system, right, shall now be removed from the Constitution. So in other words, they don't already say the debate on PR system cannot change. That is what we are going for.
All right. There are so many things that need discussions. Another quick question I want to ask you. You mentioned in passing that there are 14 or 15 political parties in Sierra Leone. Only one party, including the two major parties, who are primarily the parties to whatever we try to do, not state a position paper. So should I take it APC and SLPP not get no position, everything is perfect? Should I take it that APC and SLPP then see eye to eye so they don't see anything that is worth changing in the Constitution, but these are the two major parties who say they want to rule the country? To them everything is fine because if they didn't take a position or they not submit position paper, the reasonable interpretation of that non-reaction day is that they are fine with everything as they are. I may be wrong. Because it's hard to understand how the major political parties...
Because I'll go back to precedent. You know, law and elect precedent. If you remember, during the Cowan Constitutional Review Committee, right?
Yeah.
The very SLPP party at the time, because they're not been in a government, right? They sent a position paper for the Cowan. They sent it, and one of the things I remember said they sent a position paper. Now the idea for deal with the appointment of the electoral commissioner, because at the time the position paper said it should be appointed independently. The president not forget any hands in appointing the Chief Electoral Commissioner. That was the SLPP position paper under the Cowan Constitutional Review. But now, the president is the one we go get for determiner, even by the short lists. So what has changed? The APC said for send a position paper because the party in position for be clear, and then they said before able to direct the members of parliament as to how they for go vote on the different clauses. Because if you remember, law come back when the moral guarantors them come. When they get an 8-point communique, one of the controversy surrounding the appointment of the electoral commissioner, the party secretary general will make a statement, say they not support not only the commissioner, now the issue of this committee where they don't form, we'll go for discuss. This standing committee for look at this electoral reform process. If we remember, the party secretary general been say they not subscribe to that, they not go support them. Because it say it quotes a section which say the ECSL should not be subject to direction by anybody. Right?
Yeah.
So when they ask and say, but your government approve them. Now it say the position of the party is different from the government. So you can see. So let's go back and this program, I collect people and go back and check some of them how they talk because it's based on record. So that's why it was very relevant for the SSPP party for put a position paper, for the APC party for put a position paper, and all the other parties then. Because NGC is still registered, C4C is still registered, and at the same political parties then they argue say they exclude them in the process. So now when they give them the opportunity, they all set much.
Yep.
Which I find strange. Then let's talk about us in the diaspora. Because some people from the diaspora send position paper. I think, in fact, one of somebody will appear in our program, I don't know if it says Aziz, send a paper. Right? Because one thing will affect the diasporas, two things. One, the idea of amending section 76 of the Constitution. We're going to now give a diasporan dual citizen the right to contest as an MP. Then there is also the issue of an independent candidate contesting an election for presidency. We know since until we get some people in the diaspora, we get deep pockets. We go say, I know I join APC, I know I join SLPP. Because we don't hear you too much for the first time people say then two parties here, and they know it together, we need a change. But somebody go come, we go say, he won't come as independent. But you can't forget deep pockets. Because under the amended constitution, there's some financial provision where the one letter person they meet. Where it's also a restriction on participation. Also with diasporans, we go and stand as independent MP. How do you consider them under this district block system for allocate votes? So it means they go for contest for votes with the political parties then. I don't know, I not preempt anything. I think say the last one we want to talk, now the clause 20. We talk about the removal of Lagets and Straits. the removal of smaller political parties then. We say if they don't win election, right, then for the registration of political parties, then section 21 for amend the section 21 of the Political Parties Act, number 25, right? The commission may subject to this deregister a political party that fails to win national or local election in 2 successive elections. I don't know if now for this reason, our good friend, Madam Femi Claudius Cole, don't say this time, in the enter the race twice as presidential candidate and as an MP. But it's not strange because a certain MP, a certain individual, who is the leader of political party, KKY, under NGC, the Tewe stand, he been stand as presidential candidate and also as MP. So some of them things now we don't talk so. With all them controversy here, as also we listen and go realize, say, when you talk about things to do with how do you deal with position papers, how do you take some of them clauses here? We are talking about this amendment bill. We will not sit back and allow it to be bulldozed through Parliament in one day. Because even the one we to amendment, if we remember how long it takes for let them pass the child rights bill, even the cyber security bill, there was back and forth, it takes weeks. So why now, Parliament by implication, according to the announcement, one go do the second reading, third reading of this bill in one day? Because even when they don't do the second reading, if I can go back to the standing order, the procedure, the committee of the whole house after the second reading, it said the clerk of Parliament shall call the number of each clause in succession on the first and last number of a group of clauses. So the clerk therefore begin call the clause by clause, and then therefore vote on her. And anyone will not get 2/3 majority cannot be carried forward. And now therefore think about the entrenched clauses that were being talked about, 16 and 15, when they therefore put aside. And if they put her aside, then therefore tell we whose turn they go get a referendum. Because then 2 clauses and it deal with the life of Parliament and when it calls the general election. So I don't know what kind of magic we MP then get for play on Tuesday. But we shall all be glued to our TV with bated breath. All we hope for say, after the second reading, with another House committee, then they give some time, let the bill go now the legislative committee, then they consider the position paper, then they invite people that can give oral evidence, then they come back and report before they go to the third reading. Give or take, I'm looking at nothing less than 4 to 6 weeks for go through this process. So let's stop here, Mr. Shilo.
Okay, I will hope we say 4 to 6 weeks based on the 5 day a week basis, because then in 6 weeks, 2 days a week. Then it takes 6 weeks.
Not only that, not in 5 ways, they do it continuously because you get to give a time between each stage. Because after the house of the whole committee, you're not going to say you go immediately to the legislative committee. Because you get to pass all the amendment and you get to send notice out to people them for say now they go into legislative committee. The one way you get to invite to oral evidence, you get to send notice to them, right? And just imagine say you want to take all the 15 people them we send position paper for can give oral evidence. Almost you go examine a day. The most something you can do in a day now, something at 3-4. So you're talking about 5-6 days.
Yeah. And again, procedurally, if we want to get efficiency, will it not make sense with the oral testimony we suggest, what I think makes a lot of sense? Because most people you can't put into writing in great detail. It takes a lot of time and work. I mean, it's still not explain what you get in mind. So the oral testimony, what I'm going to forgive. Again, I think there should be some advice of some sort, whether people can appear with counsel. They should put some thought into it. So because if you're not just ordinary Joe Blow, you can't you want to give your opinion, then they begin to, because the parliamentarians, then the committee get the right for question you. You may not be fully prepared for respond to certain implications than something we suggest. So they will give you the right of counsel, so you can appear with a lawyer or with an advisor, you know, or an assistant. If we want to do it right, then the other thing about notice in the law is very, very, very important. How will notices be sent to people? Because should the government or should Parliament just be allowed to say, well, we'll send Mr. Mengot notice and no reply? Or should Parliament be required to say, these are the following way we send out notices? If you get email, if you get text, if you get WhatsApp, submit all of that to us. We will send it to you, to each one of them medium then day, because we get, otherwise tricks will be played. They will send notices to make sure it doesn't reach the people.
There has to be a record of that, because now, according to when you take the relevant section of the Constitution, if you call for oral evidence, that it come from the clerk of the committee under the direction of the chairman. And the chairman of that committee, according to the Constitution, get the same powers and privileges of a high court judge, just like how a high court judge is someone witness for appear. So then therefore follow that same principle.
Yeah, but watching at the process, you order the witness. How does the witness get the notice? And I'm a point down. How does he get the notice?
Well, the witness will get the notice through the medium, because let's restrict the notice to the one that we don't submit position paper, right? Because when they submit position paper, right? Yeah. Obviously, Parliament will not acknowledge them. Then we don't give them an acknowledgement, say we don't receive them position paper there. So that through that means we then contact them for acknowledge receipt of the position paper. Now the same means then for use for invite them for give oral evidence, whether not through email or through, because most people can get WhatsApp or through SMS. Because if people can get telephone, if you send them through SMS, there will be a record.
Correct.
You can trace the record. Yeah. So you therefore send the notice and make sure so you get evidence that it's verifiable that the notice was sent to the particular person. Because if you remember, a similar issue occurred when the government been set up that inquiry into one of their what I mean do, I think it have been Emmanuel Safar Abdullah, we've been head of government
Lawrence Lima.
Review
with Lawrence Lima, right?
With Lawrence Lima, yeah.
And he said, yeah, okay, Safar Abdullah, the lawyer, say then send a notice repeatedly. He never responded. Lawrence Lima is saying, I never received anything. You see the point I had to make? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, so your question is on order. Because now most people, because again, we get a situation at Salon now, we need to all man get us address. Right? So the way we can reach people, now either through email or SMS, when at telephone. Right? So you get for send them twice. You go get for email them and also SMS them. Even me, when I work now, I do a lot of work, consultancy, work where involve people from different parts of Africa. So even though I send the email, I decide for say, okay, I will set up a WhatsApp group. So when I send the email, I also send them direct message through WhatsApp. Because the people the way they verify whether I do the work, I get for proof to them say, I consult somebody when I do my activity. So it is not rocket science.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, sir, we don't actually do over 2 hours. And we, at this point, we thank the 2 callers that will get and the 1 or 2 people that will send messages them. And we look forward to this debate on Tuesday. For me, for the roundup, I will commend Parliament now because now most of the sessions, them, you can see them out and day online through Facebook. And I hope say they're not going to change. We all go see these deliberations where then they start on Tuesday. But I want to make a complaint, say, waiting and say they want to do Tuesday, all them then different stages than they of passing a bill, especially a constitutional amendment bill, where according to section 108, which show how you for pass them the different stages, we get 2/3 majority in the second reading and the third reading. I don't think that could be accomplished in one day. So all we urge you parliamentarians, let them follow their own procedure, let them follow the standing order we define, and that standing order now from section 47 to section 58, and let them make sure so what they do for we people them, let it be justifiable, let them take into consideration the position paper where they ask for, and that should definitely be taken to committee stage for proper examination. With that, I conclude my own submission and look forward for continuing this particular discussion after Tuesday.
Yeah, same here. I know say then topic here then difficult for understand, except for the fact that now the topics then this work to give power to we people them, to we parliamentarians them, to the government for govern we. So with that said, people then please, if you don't understand, get somebody who can sit beside you when they show how they come up for just try to understand. Not to always will get the gossip kind of information for pass, but these are very serious. Unless the government knows when they listen and they participate, then we will just give them the freedom for do as they please. So with that said, myself to say good night and good night. Let me leave it at that.
Mama Salon, we like you.
Welcome to VOS Social Media Review, your weekly platform for insightful discussion, bold analysis, and the stories shaping our society. Join lawyer Shilon and engineer Mengat every Sunday at 8 p.m. Sierra Leone time, streaming live on all VOS social media platforms. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay connected with VOS.
In the heart of Sierra Leone, where dreams often struggle to find wings, one young man dared to hope. This is John Sitta. Born into a humble family where even putting food on the table was a daily challenge, education seemed like a distant dream.
Good afternoon and welcome to Voice of Salon Radio.
Good afternoon to the listeners.
Yeah, so what's your name?
My name is Ibrahim, sir. Ibrahim Pedal.
Ibrahim Pedal, what is
Kamara.
You understand say everybody people come first in the whole country?
Yes, I'm a pikin. Okay. Actually, they talk to you now, so we born the pikin. Now, attire the cell. Now, empty attire the cell. I no gets. In lunch, now 10,000 a year every day. At times, we meet up at the biggest one and when we eat, they can get 10,000. Not all the time. It is strain. And the constraint, are they up to 14 years work no day?
John had a fire in his heart and brilliance in his mind. But brilliance without opportunity often fades into silence. His parents believed in him, but with an annual family income of less than $1,000, they couldn't afford to keep John in school. Then came the VOS Diaspora Helping Hands Scholarship Program, a beacon of hope for underprivileged, talented students like John.
Take the first position during my WAS examination.
And what are the mechanisms have you put in place for you to become first again for WAS?
I should be studying very hard and hardworking in class.
So what do you want to tell others that unfortunately took him first in the Becker process?
Okay, my advice to my colleague students is that success do not come overnight. They have to study and get prepared for any task overhead.
All right, thank you very much. This is VOS, Voice of Salon Radio.
Today, John is not just a student. He's a leader, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for his community. With your support, VOS Diaspora Helping Hands empowers students like John from humble beginnings to reach for the stars. Together we can transform more lives. Together we can change the story. Join us today. Sponsor a dream. Shape the future. Scan the QR code to donate or visit our website at www.vosdiaspora.org.
Say